So it's become a tradition on my channel that each year when a director I greatly look up to has a new movie coming out, I make a video that looks over all their previous films. I did this for David Fincher with Gone Girl, I did it for M. Night Shyamalan for After Earth, and I did it for Christopher Nolan before The Dark Knight Rises. And with the movie Bridge of Spies coming out this month, I figured it's finally time to do my all-time favorite director, Steven Spielberg. But for this one, I didn't just want to do a simple talking head video, not only because he's my favorite director of all time, but because he's done so many movies. Currently, Spielberg has directed 31 films. Well, sort of. And because of this, I figured I'd rip off James Rolfe's Monster Madness and Doug Walker's Disney-cember, and throughout the month of October, review one of his films, each day, starting with Amblin and going all the way to Lincoln. I'm leaving out stuff he produced and any episodes from TV series, and ones he officially directed. So even though people say Poltergeist is just a Spielberg movie disguised as a Tobe Hooper movie, I won't be covering it. So, let's start it off with Spielberg's first theatrically released film, Amblin. Amblin is not something most people would consider a real movie, as it's only 26 minutes long, but it did technically get a theatrical release, and I think it's an important film because it is really what put Spielberg on the map. It did get him a 7-year contract with Universal after all. It follows a young couple, a man with a guitar case and a free-spirited young woman, as they travel down Southern California, as they do everything young hippies did in the late 60s, smoking weed and having sex inside sleeping bags. God, I'd just like to visit the 60s for one day. And really, that's about it. There isn't much else here. The two leads are completely silent, and really it's more of a character piece than a flowing narrative. And for a first timer on the budget of only 15 grand, it's not bad. The two leads do a good job given that they don't speak. In fact, the guy wasn't even an actor. He was a librarian that Spielberg met and just decided to put in his movie. As for the rest of the film, it looks good. About as good as a movie made in the late 60s with little money and crew could be. I'll tell you this, it's certainly better than fucking Manos. The pacing is pretty good, and overall it has a nice atmosphere to it. Is it a movie I want to go back and watch a bunch of times? Not really, even despite its short length. There's only two small problems with the movie, and I do mean small. One is the obvious fact that it's a first-time film with very little story, but the other is the twist ending. It's not a bad twist at all, but it's just so needlessly cruel. I mean, I know this is from a time period long before I was born, but it just seems like a really downer way to end this supposed love story. But other than that, there's a lot to like about Amblin. It's short, so even if you don't like it, it won't take up much of your time, but there is some real heart to it, and it does give hopeful filmmakers some good inspiration. Think about it, Spielberg made a 26-minute silent movie with almost no budget and crew and had to rely on a librarian to be his main star, and because of it, he got a deal with Universal. So that gives you little excuse not to at least try. As of this recording, it's still on YouTube, so if you're up for it, give it a shot. I give it a 7 out of 10. And I'll see you tomorrow when we cover a much more traditional movie.